Hello, how are you? In this video, I will be doing something. I need to draw environments for a specific project that I am making that I can't get into right now, or maybe I will, I don't know. Look, I draw environments from time to time. A few days back, I actually made some studies, if I can find them here, of some castles, because I need to learn how to draw castles, right? So I started looking at some reference images online and drawing them out, simply just trying to understand the geometry of it and how these details work, how they design castles specifically, so that I could make my own. This is another study, and this is what I was trying to achieve, okay? This is part of something that I'm planning, okay? A story specifically. Here's the silhouette of it, and some random layout, because I know that there are internal gardens in this. But I'm doing this, right? I'm trying to make some concept art for this story that I'm making for the past 5 years. Or more, technically. And I need these concepts, right? But there is more to it, and I need to draw some more environments. And this isn't the first time that I've done this, right? This isn't the first time I've done these types of studies. I've done them in the past in this sketchbook, sketchbook 25, where I drew a few photos that I found online, which gave me the vibe of St. Mosley, which is the city where basically most of the stories take place in Zelium. This is a photo that I took actually, and these are random photos that I found online. I like making these little studies. I know that there is one more here. I like making these little studies to just get a feeling for things. At this point, I knew that I wanted to really push the lighting more so than anything, but we need to make some concept art, okay? We need to make some concept art. So I actually have some reference sheets there. Reference sheets? I mean, yeah, I guess technically. I have some images, okay, that I want to draw down so that I can get a feeling for things. And later on, I want to find a way to translate these digitally, because I don't really know how I want to translate that castle digitally yet. I've tried before. I actually recorded a whole thing where I tried to draw that out. I don't know if I exactly feel like it is right, but I need to find a way to do it, because I have a little project that I want to get to this year. Well, two. One is bringing this story that I have in mind to life, maybe, hopefully. And another is making an art book, so I have to actually make these whole concepts, draw them out instead of just leaving them inside my head. Unfortunately. Now, I like doing these at this point in grayscale. I use these 3 markers for that. These are the red grays that come in the pastel Ohuhu marker set, if anyone wants to know. And I don't know, I'll show you how I make these. I don't do these in any complicated way. I only really do these in quick manners, and then I start coloring them, and then I add detail afterwards. I don't know, these are just very simple. I more so want to understand what is going on in my head, and so to understand what is going on in my head, I have to, find something that represents that. What even am I looking at? Wait, hold up. Oh, there are some trees in the back there. That's cute. Okay, so cupboards. I actually also, one thing that I need to figure out for this story is, in what era does it take place? I've been thinking about that for a few days now, because later on, I want to make these into a small little series specifically for the concept art of this project that I'm working on right now. And later on, I might make a big old movie video, so that, I don't know, someone can look at that and be like, why are you so loud? God, I'm sorry about that. So that's very distracting. Someone can come to my channel and be like, oh, that's cool, yay, little movie, oh, look at that. just, I don't know, like, be crazy like me, I guess. I imagine that anyone that comes onto this channel is just out of their mind. What was I saying? I don't know, I want to make a whole series of this so that I have everything contained to one small space. Also, why am I trembling? Oh, I drank coffee, that's right. If you didn't know, I'm intolerant to caffeine. So caffeine has a strong effect on me. That's why I feel out of breath and like my heart is racing. Oh, okay. If I die, this video will go up anyways, okay? You won't know. It might be my ghost editing this video. It might be, you don't know. I mean, right now I'm like drawing house stuff, right? As you can see, this is a sink, obviously. You see that? That's a kitchen. This is stairs and a front door. Okay. Then we have another front door here. Also, you might find these, if you recognize these images, then you will recognize these images, I guess. I don't know what to say else other. I don't know how to form phrases. Dude, coffee has an effect, okay? Coffee does things to me. That's why I drink coffee. Other than it tasting nice, I guess. That just reminds me of Distractable, okay? Don't get me started on coffee. Oh, that's right, a house. Let's draw a house. Now, you all might be like, dude, what are you drawing and why is it so ugly? That's because it is, but just follow me along, okay? We will fix this still. Just follow me. I don't really know how this house is supposed to be like. Should I even say what's going on? Okay, so you know how I have been teasing this story that I made with this ugly illustration here. That is from 2020 called The Black Garden. I'm working on that again because I went kind of crazy, okay, a while back, and I just got struck with inspiration, and now I keep having hallucinations with it all day, all night, and it follows me wherever I go. I need to work on it, so I've been trying to do that again, because I've thought of this story for a good while, right? I just never actually sat down to think of it. And it's not like I'm exactly sitting down and thinking of it right now. I should put the sheet there. You want to know what sheet? This one. We put that here. Do you think that it will... I mean, it's better, I guess. Okay, so I've been working on a black garden. And it's not like I sat down to think of the story exactly. It just has been following me. So I was like, I might as well, right? I might as well just start with it since I have the inspiration for it. So I started trying to draw down all these visions I get, and it has been complicated because my mind is faster than I am. But we're getting there, okay? We're getting there. So that's what I want to make. I need to make a few scenes. I need like background stuff, and I need character designs and some story moments, like impactful moments or stuff like that. I think I had like a whole list of this stuff, like accessories and story stuff, to try and do that. I've always meant to make an art book of my own illustrations to my own stories, just so that I had something physical other than these sketchbooks to grab onto that make my stories feel more real in itself. So I've been working towards that lately, I guess. The thing is, art books are expensive to make. You think I have the money for that? Even if I did, who said that I wouldn't spend it all on perfumes? I mean, I wouldn't. I have to focus now on stuff. So, no more perfumes for the Angel Kill. And Angel Kill is going to get stinky now, okay? I'm going to be a stinky artist from now on. Now, I want to make these quicker than usual or something like that. I don't exactly know yet. I just really want to get the idea across more than anything. Like, I have no reason to draw these in a very detailed manner because these are sketchbook drawings, right? So they don't need to be detailed, I guess. But it's nice to at least add some stuff, right? To like get the vibe across. You know, it's another good thing of working in grayscale is that you don't get lost in detail. So that's nice. Lately life has just been kicking me. I don't know what's happening, okay? I'm like extremely low energy, and in a bit I am sure that my voice will just die and start frying like it usually does. Like it's already starting. I can hear it, I can feel it, and I can tell. I guess I should do this. This here. I'm sorry, it's just funny to me, okay? That, and then do like this, something like that, and then do that here, and this maybe, then here, and the cupboard. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm working on the black garden again. From back in the day, which this drawing that, you know, I've shown before many times and teased is from 2020. A lot has changed in the story and a lot I went back to. Like I did it back in 2020, so it has been a journey. Because it's always like in the back of my mind, right? I'm always getting some random idea which would fit and whatnot and whatever. Also, should I give a synopsis of this thing? I guess it would make sense, right? This story follows the president, specifically the president of Zelium, but when he was young, when he gets re-elected for his presidency. That is before he finds out that he will be president for a very long time. Despite him not wanting that. And his mother is murdered right in front of him, JFK style. And things just go down, okay? He loses his mind, obviously, and starts wanting revenge on the entire planet because of that, and just starts blaming anyone and everything in front of him. He blames God for taking his mom away from him, which he is not very glad about. And then he just decides to go into this forest that is cursed, that is on the outskirts of St. Mosley. And he finds an angel there, which then he is like, wait a minute, hold on, hold up, right? Because his faith had gone away, and then he meets an angel and he is confused. And then he finds out that this angel is looking for someone. And that is where this story goes places, okay? Who is this angel looking for? Who will he find that person that he doesn't want to know? And stuff, you know, that's like the base. Back in the day, what was it? I remember back in the day the Black Garden was going to start with that angel specifically, and the creation of the entire universe, and pure insanity, okay? I was completely crazy at the time, and I did a lot of these things that they were just way too complicated and convoluted for someone like me. I mean, at least back in the day. Nowadays I have more of a grasp on it, but a lot of the things that I wanted to show back then, I don't even need to show, right? These are things that just could be implied and make more sense if they are the way that they are now, at least. I also remember that back in the day I had made a short little comic sort of showing like the beginning of that, and I had showed this to an artist friend at the time and he laughed at me. That wasn't a nice experience, but it's whatever, I pulled through. So right now, a lot has changed, I guess. What did I keep? I mean, the base story of the origin of the universe is sort of the same still. I just don't really show that anymore, right? People can just imagine it and what it's about and whatever. I don't need to show that, so now like the world is made and whatever. I guess the character of the president has also changed a lot over the years. Like, he's a very old character, like very, very old. But I only really got his concept truly down in like 2019, 18, I don't know. Around that, where I made him be who he is. At first, I also wasn't going to just call him like the president of Zelium. He was going to be just called Thing, which is really funny. He was going to be called Thing because he just preferred for people to call him that. Because his character is sort of like that. I won't get much into it now. I prefer just letting that be interpreted in the actual story when I show it. Hopefully, because right now the world is just taking me down, okay? I don't know how I want to translate this into the digital medium. I don't know if I want to keep it painterly like it looks right now. If I want to use matte painting like I did in the last video. Or if I want to do it differently, maybe, I don't know, like draw it in a more detailed manner. I don't really know yet. I like the way that these look in my sketchbook, but I don't know if it matches the actual story. These are things to consider when I actually go into the digital drawing session. Doing these little environments the way that I'm doing them right now as well is just very freeing, and how do you say it when something like makes you feel good? I don't know, my hand just feels very loose. I forgot, my brain is melting right now. Not just because it's hot here, okay? Here it's summer. And summers here are like being in hell, straight up. But also just, I don't know. Lately, I think I mentioned it last video, my brain is not working. I like blaming the moon for it. Because, I don't know, during these moon phases, I always feel like that. So I just like blaming the moon directly and not thinking about it. Just so that I have someone to blame. But I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, it has been something. I didn't even know if I explained everything that I wanted to explain with these. I'm world building, story building, okay? A lot of these things are necessary for when you're story making. So, I think I am done with these. That's scary. I could detail these more with like a pencil, I guess. But yeah, at first I want to make backgrounds, environments for this, so that I can get a grasp for the world that they live in, right? I also should figure out what era they are in. as I was saying at some point in this video, because the president is still young in this. He gets elected at a young age and he continues to be young until he grows old. That's how life just is sometimes. Surprise, surprise. And I don't know, because depending on the era, right, things look different and are different and just exist differently. And I don't know what that is. This might actually... Is it the early 90s or is it like the late 80s? That's something to consider and think about, that's for sure. Also, this needed to be here. I'm gonna just pretend like that's just juice coming out of the ceiling or something. Don't question it. Why is this corner so noisy? Oh my god. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Things are, okay, what they are. Like, I like the way that these look very sketchy and, you know, they make me feel stuff. Like, I know what this is, and I know that it looks very much hand-drawn, and that just makes me happy. I like stuff that look hand-drawn and cute. So I'll try and translate these digitally, like instead of making these concepts based on pictures, I will actually draw the scenes of the story now, so that I have the actual illustrations that I want to put in this art book that I have in mind, right? So I'll see you there. I will try to draw a house now. I've had the overall idea for it in mind for a while now. Let's see if I'm able to put it down like I envision it. So this is supposed to be Sarelia's home, but I guess the president lives there after, you know, she dies. But the idea is, there is one part that sticks out to the front, right? It goes more to the front of the house, the entrance in the middle, and one part which is taller. That's my whole gist of the thing, I guess. Now, I'm not following any type of perspective ruler, since I want this to still hold that same feeling that my sketchbook pages have. That's sort of what I've been trying to get at with these digital ones. Like, I've tried drawing them before, right? I showed that at the beginning of this video, that I've tried doing these before, and it didn't exactly turn out. It didn't have that same feeling, it didn't have that look that I wanted. So now I'm trying again. So I decided, well, I might as well just sort of follow my usual drawing routine with this. And I did, at least half of it, you know. Did the sketch, then did a line art, base color, multiply layer, render, usual stuff. What I do change afterwards is that I hide the line art layer and start painting instead. Later on, I will lower the opacity of the line art layer and only use it as texture. But the line art just felt wrong. All the lineless one felt right. After I put the base down, I rendered it a little bit. I just sort of looked at the drawing and was like, there's something wrong. So I turned off the line art layer and I looked at it, turned it on again, then off, on. Just sort of started looking at both of them and I was like, this doesn't feel right with the line art. But without it, it does. So I went for it and I just started painting and rendering it without the line art. And it did turn out really cute. I like that. So I guess things turned out for me in the end. I guess it is, since in my own sketchbooks the sketch lines dissolve in the alcohol markers. Maybe that's why. I guess maybe, I don't know. But the overall idea of the house came out together quickly. I did in fact do a small little minuscule concept sketch in my sketchbook off camera just to see if what I envisioned made sense. You know it. You know that I always do something off camera, right? I cannot record everything. I just can't, okay? I can't. Sometimes I'm just faster than myself and I just have to draw something out before I forget it and before I turn on any type of camera. So I did that and that's good. I do add a small little background at the end just to get a feeling for how the entire environment looks in the story itself, because the story has a similar color palette to the Pekluva story, only difference being that its color palette is a lot darker, but they both rely on contrast of colors between the purple and red specifically. I think that the only real difference is that the yellow usually makes more of an appearance here than it does in the Pekluva story. Because in the Pekluva story, the only time yellow really appears is as an overlay layer just to add some brightness to it. Also, my last Pekluva drawing was very dark and more in the palette of the TBG story, but it's not usually like that. It's just bright purple, usually at least. I don't know, now that I think about it as well, I should have made more scenes for this story instead of just the house. I got so lost in this cute little house that I just completely forgot about everything else. I guess I'll have to make another video in the future drawing little environments, but that will be good actually, because I have to see whether I paint the backgrounds by hand or use matte painting, since honestly I think that my usual matte painting background style would make more sense in this case. We'll just have to see, right? I'll have to do this again with some other stuff. Also, I have to redesign old characters, right? Together with new characters. I have to do character design in general. And I also calculated. I almost said that all wrong, but that's normal with me, right? I also actually calculated when this story takes place and what era the story takes place in. It would take place around 1992. Funny how that year always follows me around everywhere I go. But I won't get more into that because that is unrelated to my illustration career. But yeah, as you can see here in the back, I do the painting without the line art stuff. It's just this very cute. I don't know, I just start having fun with it. It's like building blocks, sort of. It's the way that I can describe it, the feeling for it. It's very cute. And I'm not exactly going for that in this case. I'm not going for cute in this story. I think that the cutest thing that you will see in this entire story would be my art style, I guess, or something. But like, this story is... would I describe it as psychological horror? I don't know. It's liminal horror, I guess, sort of like that. Religious horror, if you must. But yeah, it's cute. I like that. It's cute for the art book that I have planned. It's funny that I'm planning to make an art book. I don't even want to sell it. I just want it for myself. I'm not doing this for others. Oh, let's see when I can get through with that, right? That's a complicated thing and very expensive. I also have to find a place that does that. I'm also extremely afraid of doing the art book because people here have just a tendency to utterly disrespect artists in every single way possible, and I'm just afraid that they will steal my art because I do not have money for a lawyer to go after them. So, you know, let's see how that turns out. But this story, unlike the Pekluva story, one other thing that changes is the use of teal, like dark teal. Or turquoise-ish in this case. That does appear. The Pekluva story only has purple. The entire environment is purple, while here it's dark greenish with purple hues and whatnot. I don't know, it's interesting, right? I want to focus a little bit on like a page, the actual art book, more so on the actual color palette of the story, because that does go hand in hand with the entire thing, right? The entire story is based on these colors specifically. But I don't know. That's just things that we will get into at a later point. Right now, just look at the finished result of Cyrelia's Home. I think it's honestly really precious and it really captures the dark fantasy tones of the story in itself. This house stays on the edge of town where the forest sort of makes a separation of lands between like rural agricultural lands, you know, crops, and the town. Like there's then this edge of forest in between them. That's why there are so many trees in the back there. Also, they're supposed to have a big garden in the back, the house I mean, for reasons which we will get into later. For now, I hope you have a nice day and night, and I hope to see you in the next video, because that one is going to be fun. Bye!